Okay, so here is the palette. And it's mirrored, which I thought was like super pretty. It looks super fancy. And then you open it up. It gets dirty fast though. That's the only thing, and it's kind of hard to open. And then you have this little insert, and then it shows all the beautiful colors that are in this palette. On the top, these eyeshadows are mattes, and then on the bottom, these eyeshadows are shimmery. And I used a nice amount of these eyeshadows in the actual tutorial, as you'll see in just a second. This palette is limited edition, and I got it from Sephora. And I know that this is a Sephora exclusive, so it's only sold in Sephora stores, Sephora online, and then I saw it in Sephora inside of JCPenney's. But the good thing about NARS is that most of their stuff does not sell out super quick like other brands. So that's really good for them. And I'm going to put this box on top of here so it's not just like totally blinding you guys. That box, even though it's shiny, is not as bad as a mirror. Okay, so on top, I would say these eyeshadows are mostly neutral slash warm eyeshadows. Like this color right here, I think it looks like a really pretty like toffee buttery type color. This color is a mid-tone rosier brown, but it's still brown. This color is like a really... This color is a really pretty chocolate brown. This is an off black to me. It is not totally black. It almost has a hint... It almost has like a hint of blue in it to me. This one is a really interesting color because I would describe it as like a dirty taupe silver color. These are my descriptions, by the way. This one is a really nice sand beige color. This one is a shimmery reddish brown, really warm, pretty brown. With NARS eyeshadows is once you put that kind of shimmer on the lid and like pack it on there, you're not going to see much of the glitter particles that are actually in the eyeshadow that you see in the pan. And then this one is a really nice sparkly black. And the glitter particles are not very finely milled, but they're just not going to translate the same way when you swatch them or when you put them on the eye. So it's not going to be this sparkly when you put it on the eye. So keep that in mind for people. Some people might think that's a good thing. Like, yes, I don't want this much glitter. But some people like me, I want the color to be true to what I see in the pan on my eyelids. Also, this palette includes a travel size eyeliner. This one is the Night Series eyeliner, and this one is in Night Clubbing. And so a nice thing that I thought that they had on the back were the ingredients for all you people who have a lot of allergies and sensitivities. This is going to be really great for you guys because they spell out all the ingredients of everything that's included, so you can see clearly before you purchase it. Like, it's a long list. Instead of being cute on the back, they say, okay, we're tired of y'all, we're tired of playing games with y'all, we're gonna put the ingredients on the back. So I thought that was nice. But overall, the palette is $65, 8 eyeshadows, which kind of makes it expensive because it makes each eyeshadow $8.13, which is really more so on the expensive side as opposed to some of the other palettes that I've been reviewing this week. This product, let's see, this product has 8 0.5-ounce eyeshadows, and then I can read off the names. This one is Naso, and these are their descriptions: creamy French vanilla, Maya Bay, a rosy clay. I see a hint of the rose that they're talking about, but on the eyes it's just going to look like a lighter brown. Ithaca, a warm nougat, Dogan 2, and I think this was actually included in a duo that they have come out with before. This one is a charcoal black, and that's a great description for that. Now, I don't know how to pronounce all this stuff, you guys, so I might be butchering. Manchuri 1, golden infused denim. Oh, that's perfect. Bonifacio, pink sand with shimmer. I don't really see pink. It just looks like a sandy, it looks just like a sandy taupe color in my opinion. This one is Zagreb, a chocolate infused with raspberry shimmer. Let's see, Heraklion, Starry Night. That's exactly what I was thinking. Just like in this pitch black, you're in the country and you just see all the stars. That's what it looks like in the pan, but on the eyes it really doesn't look like that. And then this one is Night Clubbing. It's a black with gold pearls, gold pearl finish, and I actually have Night Clubbing eyeshadow. Overall, I think the palette is nice, but I don't necessarily think that one must have this palette in order to satisfy their neutral eyeshadow collection. I think the eyeshadows are pretty easy to work with. However, I think a lot of the shades may not translate on the lid like how you would want them to. And I think this palette is a little bit darker for the everyday person who wears eyeshadows. So unless you're just going to be using these 3 colors, I think these colors down here or these 4, like pretty much half of the palette is created to make a smokier, grungier look, and the other half is made for a more everyday wearable neutral look. So if you're looking for your everyday neutral palette that you just throw on when you're going somewhere, or you're going to work, or you're going to school, or wherever, I don't think that this is this palette. I think this palette is more inept to make looks like that are more dramatic. Even though it's neutrals, I think this is a more dramatic neutral palette. But this one is limited edition, so if you're interested, I would say get it sooner than later. Like I said, this palette looks very similar to the Narcissist palette that they came out with last year. They had a little bit more shadows, and I believe the palette was a little bit more expensive, but let me check. Yes, the Narcissist eyeshadow palette. This is the Narcissist matte / shimmer eyeshadow palette, and the one that came out last year was just called the Narcissist eyeshadow palette, and it was $79. And let's see, it has similar colors, but the shadows are smaller, so they're 0.003 ounces with 15 eyeshadows. Swatch it and see if you're interested in it. It's a cool palette. I still would keep it and wear it, but this probably isn't going to be the palette that I just reach for like as my go-to for the fall. But it's a nice palette. It has a nice color scheme to it. So stay tuned to see the look that I created using these colors, and let me know what you guys think. Mwah! Alright, so I am starting off with Laying Low Paint Pot, which is a really pretty light peachy brown, and I'm going to apply that all over the lid. This is a 235 brush by MAC. Okay, so now for the eyeshadow palette that I'm talking about. So starting off, I am wanting to go with this bone color right here, Nasu. This is an angled little cheapy brush from Sonia Kashuk. So I'm just going to take that color and set the concealer that I've placed underneath my brow with it, and also dust it a little bit further down. Okay, so now moving on to the next color. The next color is called Maya Bay, and I'm going to place this in my crease with the 217 brush. I have an obsessive need to clean off my palettes. Like, I want the palettes to stay looking new for forever, but then that means I can't like use them. So it's like an issue for me. That's the only thing I hate about palettes, is that they start looking like wah 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 after a while. Okay, so this eyeshadow, I'm placing it into the crease, and this is going to be a transition color. So it's going to help blend all the other eyeshadows that I'm placing. And you saw me just go back and forth with it. It's not a whole lot of color, but you'll be able to see it better once all the colors are there, and you'll see like the purpose of having a transition color. It just makes everything blend more seamlessly. This is going to be an easy neutral look. Okay, so right next to this is called, I don't know how to pronounce it, but I'll try Ithaca, Ithaca, and that's this one. And so right underneath that first color, like more so directly in the crease, this is where I'm going to place Ithaca. Okay, so now for the inner corner, I'm going back with that first color that I placed underneath my brow and a MAC 242 brush. And I'm going to place that on the inner corner, like in a circular motion. Just kind of diffuse it out. And then I'm going to take, this one is, again, these names are pretty hard to pronounce. Banio Facio, and that's the one at the bottom on the shimmer side. This one. The same 242 brush. And you see where I placed the matte eyeshadows and I have like a little blank pocket? I'm going to place this eyeshadow in that little pocket. Like that. And I am patting the eyeshadow downwards to get the highest impact of shimmer that I can get without having to wet the brush. And I want this color to be concentrated on the lid. So that's why I'm not using a fluffy brush. I'm using a brush that's going to pack the color on to make it more intense, as opposed to brushing back and forth, which gives you a nice wash of color. And then I'm just going to go back with the blending brush and just make sure that my edges are blended. This one is a 286. Yes, 286 by MAC. Now for the outer corners, to kind of give it a little bit more, give it something a little bit more interesting, I'm going to take Haraculon. That's this grayish slate blue color here. And with the same 242, I'm going to pat this right on the outer corner right here. And I'm really going to be very specific where I'm placing this color, because I don't want to take it far into the crease. I literally just want to keep it about right here and gradually make it look like that has faded up. I am doing this very subtly. And I actually am going to bring it in a little bit more on this side. Make sure you tap off your access so you're not getting a ton of fallout. And I want it to look more like a cut crease. So I'm taking the tip of the 242 and drawing an angle here on my lid, okay? And then I'm going to go back and just pack color right there and gradually fade it up like that. And these eyeshadows are really nice and easy to blend, so I'm liking that so far about this palette. The trick with this look is to take your time, because it's always easier to add shadow versus having to take it away. When you have to take away eyeshadow, you're tripling your work that you're going to have to do. So just take it slowly and build it and build and build and then blend as you're building, versus packing a lot of product on your face and then trying to build it out or blend it out on the back end, which is always harder. And that's with anything in makeup. Be it foundation, brow stuff, like it doesn't matter. Always go slower and build. I have a little bit of fallout. So I'm just taking the 137 brush by MAC. And this is like my favorite brush to just sweep off anything excess on my face, because it looks like Cinderella's broom. So now I'm going to clean up my under eye using some concealer. This is the NARS Creamy Radiant. And I blend at the bottom and then I work my way right underneath my eye. And then I'm going to set this with some Laura Mercier powder and my beauty blender. So to set my whole face, I'm going to use the medium, let's see what this is called, Matte Setting Powder by Cover FX. And I'm going to use a 187 just because basically all my brushes are dirty. I like to let that sit for a second, and then I go back and do my eyes and all that good stuff. So for my eyeliner, I'm using a dark gray eyeliner by MAC, and this one is called Midnight Snack. And I'm going to put that on my eyelid with a 210 brush. I kind of want this to look like it's coming out of this, which is my reasoning for selecting this color. So I'm not going to do a wing today. Okay, so I did a lot of stuff off camera. I contour with blunt blush. I did Blush Baby Blush, and then for a highlighter I did Global Glow. I added lashes. These are MAC 2s, and I blew out the bottom just to give it a little bit of definition. I went back with, let's see, let me show you guys the colors. I smoked it out with this color right here, and on the inner corner I used this color. So now I'm going to apply my lips, and I'll be right back. Alright dolls, let me put on my earrings so I can show you guys the finished look. So for my lips, I used Stone Lip Liner by MAC. And I used the matching lipstick, Stone, of course, because I felt like it just really went with this really pretty, cool tone, neutral look. So here's the finished look. It looks like it took a lot more effort than it did with the eyes, but it's super simple. You guys saw that technique where it just kind of looks like it's just smoked out from the corner. A lot of Instagram people do a lot of eye tutorials with that. They make it look a little bit more complicated. I'm all about simplification of things. But I hope you guys enjoyed this look, and I will talk to you later. Smooches. Mwah, mwah. Bye. I also hope that you guys have been enjoying KBJPA, KelseeBrianaJai palette attack, where I'm talking about all these palettes. Let me know what you think about this in the comment, and if you want to see me do this with other things in the future.